Digital transformation is more like planting trees than kicking cans. I'm Tonya Hall for ZDNet and Tech Republic, and joining me is Ryan Duguid. He is the chief evangelist at Nintex. Welcome, Ryan.
Great to be here.
What type of work does Nintex do, and what is your role as chief evangelist?
So we're in the process management and automation space, and it's a very broad space, so just a little bit of specifics around that. We focus a lot on what we call human-centric processes. So it's really about enabling people to get their jobs done more effectively, as opposed to trying to replace them. So it's not about robots, it's about enhancing the power of the individual. As far as chief evangelist goes, my job to get out there and promote everything we do and promote the industry that we're in. So that means getting people excited about automating everything across their business and getting the best efficiency and delivering the best service they can.
Nintex just released a report titled The State of Intelligent Process Automation Study. What prompted you to embark on this kind of research?
Sure. At the end of the day, a lot of the focus in our industry has been on tackling very big, very heavy lifting problems and tackling a handful of them, what I would call core strategic processes. But oftentimes what people ignore is everything else going on in their business. So if you think about those core processes as the engine of your company, then I'd say Nintex is the oil in the engine. And if you don't put oil in the engine, it doesn't run so well. And so what we really wanted to do is get a handle on what was going on out there and just how the industry was thinking about tackling that small set of niche boutique type problems versus thinking about the long tail potential of automation across their entire organization.
How many businesses were included in the study and how are they chosen?
How are they chosen? Probably part of it is we get selective and we pick the ones that have the really great stories, right? But no, at the end of the day, it's a random sampling. We have 8,000 customers in Nintex, and it's a broad range across all industries. We're across 90 countries in the world, and companies ranging anything from 50 employees up to 400,000 employees. So it's essentially taking a sample population there and then understanding what it is that they're up to.
Your research focused on how decision makers and employees view their enterprise digital transformation process, successes and adoption challenges. What were the key findings of the study?
I think the most interesting thing is that there's a definite disconnect between perception and reality. I think we're now at the stage where digital transformation it's in a hype cycle, right? Everybody's talking about it. Everybody says they're doing it. Everybody says they have a plan or a strategy. When you scratch a little bit below the surface, everyone's opinions differ. And I think, a couple of things play out here. One is that at the end of the day, it's good to see that at the executive suite, most people have a plan in place. They're realizing the imperative to change how they do business. But at the same time, I think there's way more potential to exploit the capabilities in the marketplace right now, things like no-code, low-code tools, the type of thing we do here at Nintex, to tackle more problems rather than focus on just a subset of those challenges in the business. Now, hand in hand with that, what gets interesting is when you talk to the employees, you can see that the message hasn't really trickled down. And so while the wider organization may have a strategic plan in place, that's not getting down to the grassroots employees who are tasked with actually making things different.
What steps should top-down management take to address this, and what part of the message is garbled or missing?
Yeah, it's fascinating. We, Nintex is a pretty fast-growing company. When I joined, we were 80 employees. Now we're 470 odd. And, through that type of growth, even in a smaller company, you see those communication challenges pop up all the time as you expand, as you reorganize to more effectively do what it is you do. That, you just have to keep beating the same drum over and over again. You have to keep the messages simple, clear and concise, and then keep repeating them. We're going through this exercise internally at the moment, and it's amazing once you start doing that, how fast it takes on. Just something like your core operating principles. And if from the top down, you're just repeating that same thing and you bring that language into everything you do, then you have the highest chance of success. If you're not doing that, it gets very, very hard, especially in a larger organization. I've worked at Microsoft for a long time. That's about as big as it gets. And I was there during the phase. I'm sure you've seen the graphics of everyone pointing the guns at the other, that type of stuff. It's super hard to communicate clearly through there and get a consistent message. Compare that to Microsoft today. what did it take? It took Satya to sit down and write a book to actually get that message across the organization.
The data shows a disparity in who leads digital transformation. Does it really matter who leads?
It really depends on the approach you're trying to take. So we typically see two ways of tackling process transformation within an organization. One starts at the top, right? It's a mandate at the C-suite, and you tend to have fairly large projects where you're stepping back and trying to map out everything that's going on within your business. You're defining how you operate today and how you want to improve things moving forward. And from there, you start to shake out the tree of automation potential, right? Those are long-running initiatives, and it takes a while to get that ball rolling. The other side of it is the grassroots approach, which is, I think, where Nintex really got its start in life, which is just saying, look, you've got tactical problems all over the organization. Bring me a list of every paper form that you have, thousands of them, and we're supposed to be paperless these days. Let's just pick one of those, turn that paper form into an electronic form, and then put some automation behind it. And now the ball's rolling. And so if you do that, that's where you get to the type of organization. The largest one we've come across, we have a customer with 120,000 processes automated on our platform. And that came about just by every individual that had a problem grabbing hold of this technology and applying it to solve the pain in their own role.
What is it about digital transformation that drives IT manager concern about job security?
Part of it, I think, is the rise of the robots conversation, right? Where the other hype cycle we're in right now is sort of digital transformation equals robotic process automation. And the minute you hear the word robotics, everyone gets super concerned. And so the fear there is, hey, this is about making my job go away. And the reality is, most technology in this space right now, sure, some jobs will go away, right? That's inevitable. It's been that way since the invention of the Jacquard loom, right, back in the day. But most technology here is really about enhancing the power of the individual. It's the Iron Man suit for Tony Stark's the way I like to explain it to our employees, right? You're basically saying, look, we're going to take what it is you do best and enhance it. And more importantly, we're going to take the minutia out of your day-to-day work. And I think if you look at a lot of the research in this space, it shows most people appreciate that sentiment. Like, 40% of a lot of workers' time is taken up in just operational activities. My leave requests, my expense claims, my review cycles, getting a new light in the office. What if I could make that pain go away for you and you could focus all your efforts on the thing it is you're actually paid to do?
What advice can you offer to organizations who are just starting their digital transformation journey?
This is an awesome one. I was talking to my kids about this the other day. The interesting question here is, what's the best time to plant a tree, right? The answer to that's 10 years ago. Next best time to plant a tree is today, right? So my advice is always get started. Don't try and make it an overwhelming project. Don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Take lessons from software development. Think agile. Think about picking a problem, getting some ROI, moving on to the next one. And as you do that, as you build up those little improvements throughout your organization, that then starts to afford you that time to step back and think more holistically about what's going on. And it's not about kicking the can down the road, right? It's not, hey, we should really figure everything out in our business, but get some runs on the board before you slow everything down to think about the big picture. Because those other things, if you take that agile approach, you'll find you automate something. In the act of doing that, you'll see actually it could work a little better. It could be a little different. Let's just make some tweaks and some tunes as we go along, rather than the classic approach here, which is get everyone in a room and get consultants around and talk about the as-is state and the to-be state. And by the time you've actually solved the problem, the requirements of the business have changed.
Ryan Duguid, Chief Evangelist at Nintex, thank you so much for joining us and shedding some light on planting trees and kicking cans. If somebody wants to connect with you, maybe they want to find out more about your work or get some advice on digital transformation, how can they do that?
Sure. So first up, come to nintex.com, nintex.com. You'll find me on Twitter. My handle is private RD, PVTRD. And if you're really into geocaching, you can find me there too. Team Tiki Bandits. And look forward to hearing from you.
I love it. And if you guys want to find out more of my interviews, you can right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or maybe go to my website, tonyahall.net. I've got links to all my social sites. Thanks for watching.